This was a tough loss against a really good team, but it's a good test for the Knicks. And I kind of just want to break down the second half offense, but I want to start with two possessions first. And we talked about this in the last video about when a center's on Hart, how do we get Cat touches in the post? And this is way better to me to get Cat a touch. Look how fast it is, right? Hart pulls Hartenstein out of the paint, entry to McHale, who has a lob past the Cat. And then now you have position, smaller defender, help's not there. You can just move really quickly into this little post fade, right? So it's just manipulating the defense when the center's on Hart to not be able to help out. You're going to see the same thing here. Here's a skip pass to OG, and then OG hits the entry to Cat, right? So smaller defender, helps too far away, seals, easy entry, easy dunk. So there's just ways to get Cat the ball that I think we could be a little bit better at, especially when hope is on Hart, like Hartenstein was. So let's start getting into the second half now. The switch that OKC did in the second half was to start hard hedging on these Brunson screens. This play has worked for the Knicks a lot. Trapping teams have generally not done well because of this Brunson Hart pick and roll. OKC are just an incredible defensive team. So look at this steal right here. I don't know if I've seen that turnover between this Hart and Brunson pick and roll on a trap or on a hard hedge. The second thing I want to talk about, which we mentioned before, is Precious in these trapping lineups. It's really difficult to have Precious in here because Precious is going to be the short roller. You're expecting him to make a decision in the short roll, right? You want to play advantage basketball here. It's going to be basically a 4-on-3. But Precious as your short roller isn't really pressing the advantage as well as a player should. So obviously Precious is really useful in a lot of lineups, but this is situational basketball, right? If you know that the opposing team is going to trap, it's probably more beneficial to not have Precious in the lineup versus having Precious in the lineup. And you're going to see the same thing here. This is late in the third, so they're going to send this trap just once Brunson crosses half court. You want to play advantage basketball here, but again, OKC is comfortable leaving Precious in the corner, and you can see it's just a wide open Precious 3, which OKC is fine with. Right, so when the trap is happening, when you know that teams are going to trap against Brunson, in that situation, it's probably not the best to have Precious in those lineups and only in those situations. Now, moving into the fourth with the no Brunson minutes, and then Hart's not going to get this touch. So you can look at Isaiah Hartenstein. He's already in the paint, so he can help out here, and he's basically completely ignoring Hart. Right, and we know that teams do this, and it's teams' game plans, especially when the center's on Hart. But you have to capitalize on these situations. And look at Hart right now. He's already in the paint. Look how far away he is from Josh Hart. Right? Like, you have to take advantage of this. Especially with Brunson out, Josh is the second best playmaker on this team. With Brunson out, he's the best playmaker. I trust him with the ball in his hands to capitalize. Instead, you're getting an extra help defender in Hartenstein, just leaving Hart and just sitting in the paint. Right? So it's something we talked about in the last video. In this game, they did use Hart a lot, like you're going to see here. Especially in these non-Brunson minutes, I just think this should be the play every single possession. So here you're going to see Hartenstein needs to be dragged out, right, to guard Hart. Cat sets the screen. Hart goes under. And then just shoot it. Like, this is a 40% three-point shooter. I would be telling Josh that you have the absolute green light to shoot any three you want, truly. So once Brunson comes back on the court, again, you know this scheme is going to be the hard hedge, like semi-trap. You shouldn't be setting the screen in the corner. You should be setting the screen in the middle of the court. Because you're setting this in the corner, the trap is happening. You have an extra defender in the baseline. Again, this Hart-Brunson pick and roll with Hart in the short roll has been phenomenal. You can go back to the Pelicans game. Like, this works so well. It's just, this is a really good defense. I don't even know the right answer. Brunson likes to split the defenders with this pass to Hart. That's why Hart's rolling like this. I want to say Hart should roll a little further out to open up this passing lane. But I know this is how they like to throw this pass in the short roll, just through the two defenders. It just doesn't really work here. The second thing I want to talk about is if it's going to be this aggressive and this high, we should really look at flipping the screen because Hart's already on this right side, ready to trap. Josh Hart can flip this screen on Kaysen And then Brunson, if he takes a second, wait for the flip screen, he can just come into the center of the court with a lot of momentum and no trap. But because that doesn't happen, there's a trap up top, and then we're late in the shot clock. Hart isolates, take that shot, that's fine. I mean, again, I want Josh to shoot more personally. You're gonna see it here. This is center of the court now. This is a lot better, right? Just a lot more room to operate. Brunson has the option to reject this, which he does. So he rejects the screen, creates an advantage. OKC, again, great defense, just swarms and recovers so well. And then this play is really interesting to me, especially with center on Hart, because this is what OKC does with Isaiah Hartenstein. You just do this chase action where you set the screen and you get a free three-pointer off it. Like that, if this is set, because Hartenstein is not in a position to help or switch, because he's just far off Hart. If there's a good screen, there's a wide open McHale. I mean, honestly, there's a fine shot. But OKC runs that a lot of Isaiah Joe and Hart. And I think that's something we can copy if there's a center on Josh. And then we're now moving into a segment with just straight Brunson isolation. I think I'm a little biased because I kind of don't hate this. I've been calling for Brunson isolations a little bit more. Just because, and you're going to see it here, right? He waves off the screen. I think sometimes these screens are a waste of time. Like Brunson's an elite one-on-one player. He could generate an advantage himself. You're going to see it here. He generates an advantage. He brings Kaysen and Wiggins in to help. Hart's open, OG's open. Great move for a wide open mid-range, but he already generated an advantage over arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA. So sometimes you don't really need these screens to get him open, and you saw it a lot in this game, which I really liked, honestly. Josh Hart brings the ball up, more time on the shot clock, isolation against Kaysen, generates an advantage, right? Dort has to help. Again, two elite perimeter defenders, right? You're still generating an advantage here. Kick out. Honestly, shoot this. Like, this is why you generate an advantage with Brunson. But this is a great closeout by Dort. Advantage generated. If this pass is on point, this is an open Brunson 3. Right? So I know it looked a little sloppy. I'm not even saying this is the best offense. But in the playoffs, the game slows down where you need isolation. You need, to get a bucket. And this is on Shea, another good perimeter defender. And earlier on in the season, these possessions, we didn't really play well. But I think, just having Brunson isolate works. Again, this is an example where this action works really well for us generally. Right? And then this hard hedge. Again, Hart's rolling because he knows that Brunson likes to split the defender with his pass. I don't know what the right answer is here. I almost want to say Josh should be aware and then, pop out to receive this pass, but it's just not what they practice. I know it's not what they practice because they always like to split it. That's why he's where he is. So I don't even know if changing is the right answer. There's a bad pass. These two turnovers are what really killed us. You guys see it again. This is just a fast hedge by Hartenstein. He's just going to hedge already before Josh even sets this. Trap. And then this one, Josh probably needs to be a little bit more active in getting open. But this is just what they're used to. If you look, again, if you're referencing that Pelicans game, if you look at that Pelicans game, they killed the Pelicans with that split. McHale did it too. They did it against the Nets back then as well. And then here's a sideline out of bounds play. This exit screen on the bottom of your screen. And then open Brunson 3 that he misses. So not the best Brunson shooting game. Overall, I think this was a fine fourth quarter against an elite defense. I think if we're just a little bit sharper with Brunson's decision-making, Hart's rolling, I think that already solves a lot of it. One added thing is we probably should be getting Cat some touches as well, based on what we talked about in the beginning of the video, just having Hart initiate and swing the ball to get that mismatch as well. But overall, I mean, it's really not the worst quarter. There was a lot to take away from it that's good, and excited to see them again on Friday.